Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. So today's topic is nutrition, and the title is Stop the Bear Crap. So, what in the world am I talking about? Recently, I've been told by some friends and family and just some people I see often that they laugh at how often I say the word bullshit in these podcasts. And we were kind of discussing that possibly, not that I'm saying it too much, but it comes up often. And we were laughing about how I need to find a different word. So other than that, so we were making up things like bear crap and dove doo-doo, and then the game got pretty much out of control. So it got worse and worse. But so I'm using bear crap today as a replacement. So my mom used to run a daycare for 30-some years out of our home back up in Pennsylvania. So I remember the idea of replacement words I had to learn very, very young, in the sense of like you'd stub your toe and be like fiddlesticks or Jiminy Crickets. So you ended up using cuss words that made absolutely no sense because you didn't want to swear in front of the younger kids. So it was just kind of funny. So that's the idea of the title, and I was hoping that it would gather some people's attention. So about bear crap, basically. So I recently had saw a post on Instagram on a channel titled Hybrid Performance Method. So if you don't know who those people are, go check them out. It's led by a woman named Stephanie Cohen, and it's Cohen, and her first name is Stephanie, Stephani, I believe, or whatever. Stephanie is spelled one of the 4 million ways people spell it, and Cohen is her last name. She has, I believe, she's a physical therapist, and she's a world record holder at one point in time. I don't know if she's still a current world record holder in strength sports like powerlifting, but she looks freaking awesome. She's strong as hell, and she knows a lot of stuff. So they share a lot of really good information on that channel. So if you don't know of them, please go check them out, Hybrid Performance Method. So I saw a post by them, and it was explaining how different diets work. And it was a comical post in the sense that they were showing different diet models, and them coming back to the fact that the reason why they work is because they cause a caloric deficit. So if someone's dieting to lose fat, we've talked about this a million times, and you better be freaking brand new to the podcast if you don't know what I'm talking about here, because we've mentioned it 400 times. But calories determine the direction of a diet. If you eat above your caloric needs, you can, and do it correctly and intentionally, you build muscle size, you can build overall size. Sometimes it's great for strength development as well. You can get strong in a caloric deficit, but it's harder. So just easier for a body if it has more resources around. So calories determine the direction. So if you eat above your caloric needs, you gain size. If you hopefully have a lot of muscle damage around from really hardcore, awesome workouts, that size will be muscle mass. If you don't do that and you don't have muscle damage sitting around waiting to be repaired, then you just get fat, which is why most of us are fat. So then if you eat at your caloric needs, you will kind of just stay the same weight. But over time, you'll have more muscle, maybe have less fat. This is great for like sport performance, people who want to maintain body size, but just kind of refine what they look like. So eating at caloric maintenance and actually not having the scale go anywhere is actually intentionally correct for a lot of people. So there's a lot of athletes I work with in performance or sports, and their body weight is totally fine. So we don't really want them to lose weight. We don't want them to gain weight. We just want to become more athletic or more skilled towards their goals. So we eat at caloric maintenance for the most part, averaging out on over time. So sometimes around workouts we eat a surplus, sometimes away from workouts we eat a deficit. But in general, we don't really want their weight to go anywhere. We just want to have a better composition and better physical abilities at that weight. And then if you eat in the caloric deficit, you lose weight. Now, if you eat too extreme of a caloric deficit and you don't work out at all, you tend to lose muscle along with fat. If you exercise regularly, quote unquote, there's a lot of broad definition in there, but if you exercise and you maintain correct protein content, you can maintain most of your muscle and lose mostly fat. So there's a lot of kind of kind of caveats to all this, but in general, calories determine the direction of a diet. If you eat more, you gain more. If you eat less, you gain less. You weigh less. So that's the idea. So they went through and they listed like intermittent fasting, for example, which is when people just kind of pick a certain time of the day to eat, and that's their like food window. So they might eat from like say 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And most commonly they're going to pick this just because it's easy. So they're already under eating during the day and they're already overeating at night. So then they just don't eat anything during the day and they eat everything at night. And the reason why that actually still sometimes works is because if there's less overall time to eat, then you have to get an entire day's worth of calories in just 4 hours, for example, you're probably not going to be able to do it. And most people pick absolutely dumbass foods that take very slow to digest and they actually make themselves ridiculously uncomfortable. So there's actually a correct way to load food into a food window if you want maximum digestion. So you would actually start with carbohydrates with very low fats and proteins. And then throughout the time period, you want to add proteins in, and then at the very end, you add fats and proteins and kind of take most of the carbs out. So that is actually how you'd want to structure your food intake during a window to get the highest degree of digestion and have the longest retention of those calories and ease of digestion. So there's actually a right way to do a wrong thing. But if somebody restricts all of their eating to just one part of the day, they're going to have often a caloric deficit and they're going to lose weight. So somebody says right now, well, I already don't eat anything during the day and I already overeat at night and I'm fat. Well, the problem is you actually do eat stuff during the day and then you still overeat at night. Whereas intermittent fasting is you eat nothing during the day, literally nothing. And then you overeat at night. So it still results in kind of like a caloric deficit. Then you have things like plant-based diets. And I'm not saying like, for example, a plant-based diet is quote unquote wrong, but it doesn't work for any other fancy reason than a plant-based diet. So you focus mostly on foods that have a high volume to them, meaning they're not really calorically dense. So you have to eat like a whole head of lettuce to get like 12 calories, okay, from iceberg lettuce. So people in plant-based diets eat foods that take up a lot of space, but they don't have a lot of calories. So they tend to feel full and they always have something in their belly. So for example, the stretch effect of food in our stomachs, when you stretch the lining of the stomach, we actually release a compound that triggers our brain to feel like it's full. So it actually lowers hunger. Doesn't matter if it's a head of lettuce or if it's a big pile of cheesecake and ice cream. So if it's something that's stretching your stomach, it can even be a ton of water or liquids. So I've been on diets where I've lost 50 pounds or less in 10 weeks. 50 pounds or more in 10 weeks or less. And I had moments where I was insanely miserable, but it was a good kind of challenge where I drank a 2 liter of soda just to be insanely full of liquid, and that at least got rid of the hunger pain. And now I was ridiculously bloated and felt uncomfortable for other reasons, but at least I got rid of the hunger pain. So if you fill your stomach, that can reduce hunger levels regardless of what you fill it with. So people with plant-based diets, they eat a bunch of food that doesn't have a lot of calories to it, and therefore they end up in a caloric deficit because they feel full most of the day, even though they never have a lot of calories total. So think like paleo. That was a common thing in CrossFit. So what they do to tend to focus on the same thing, kind of low calorie, calorically dense foods, like lots of fruits and vegetables. And then they add protein to it. So they're at least, protein based instead of the plant-based diets, which have usually low protein intake due to just it's hard to get protein from plant sources compared to animals. Can it be done? Yes, I'm just saying it's harder. So paleo allows you the benefit of animal proteins paired with all the plant-based stuff. So they're going to have, again, low caloric foods, low calorically dense foods. They're going to add protein in, which is actually satiating. So you feel full from protein, even though there might not be a lot of carbs and fats in it. So you still end up in a caloric deficit. And then you have keto diets, where people just eliminate an entire food group so they don't have any carbohydrates at all. So they end up eating a lot of protein and fats, and they feel like, oh my God, I get to eat 10 pounds of bacon. Yeah, congratulations trying to do that 5 days in a row. So eventually they end up in a caloric deficit, even if they eat like jackasses at the beginning of it. And then even more obscure diet styles like carnivore style diet, which is just like keto gone nuts. And they just say, eat all the animals you can eat, have a, 2-pound steak for breakfast, have a whole chicken for lunch. So that kind of thing. And it's highly satiating. You get ridiculously full very fast because there's a ton of fat and a ton of protein in there. So you end up actually not being able to eat a lot of food because what you do eat has so many damn calories in it that you can't eat again for a really long time. So you still end up in a caloric deficit. So if you are doing a diet and it's working, it really doesn't have anything to do with the diet. It has to do with the fact that whatever the structure is that you're using causes you to be in a caloric deficit. That's the only way diets work, is if you're like a weight loss diet. The only way it works is if you're in a caloric deficit. You can't be in a caloric surplus and lose weight. Okay? Now, a caloric surplus or caloric deficit includes physical activity, by the way. So you might say, well, I'm eating a lot and I'm exercising a lot and I'm losing weight. Yes, then you're out exercising your food. So you're still in a caloric deficit. So you're eating a lot, maybe more than you used to eat, but you're probably also exercising more than you used to exercise, and that's causing the caloric deficit. So a caloric deficit is more than just what you eat. It includes physical activity. So if you think of this, that any diet that ever works, always, ever, 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 the only way it ever works is because you have a caloric deficit. So it's not that this certain specific diet is the most amazing thing and everybody under the sun should be doing it. It's just the same thing, is that you found a way to reduce calories in a manner that fits your lifestyle. So, for example, intermittent fasting people, they're lazy and they don't want to food prep and they're busy during the day, so they're like, well, I'm just not going to eat anything. And then I typically overeat at night, so I'm just going to overeat at night. Okay, you found a way to match a diet style to the way you were probably already living. And with a little bit of rules, a little bit of structure, a little bit of saying no here and there, all of a sudden you're in a caloric deficit and you're losing weight. Great, fantastic. Okay, we're not even going to get into the fact that you're probably going to feel like shit all the time because they're not paying attention to meal timing and fueling yourself when you're active. So there's a whole new world on top of that. But will weight go down? Yes, you might feel like crap, but weight is going to go down. So, for example, people on keto diets, they're going to lose weight, but they're going to feel horrible the whole time because they're probably eating the wrong foods at the wrong time. So, but does it work? Yes. So, you'll often hear people kind of say, well, I did such and such diet and I lost this weight. You should do it too. Bullshit. Well, crap. Sorry. Bear crap. Okay? So, bear crap, bear crap, bear crap. Do not tell people that because that diet fit your lifestyle. Maybe it'll fit that person's lifestyle. Maybe it won't. So if you tell them such and such diet structure is the right structure for them, but you don't have a clue what their lifestyle is like. You don't have a clue what their food preferences are. You don't have a clue if they have any kind of medical or nutritional disorders. So if you tell somebody that they should go on an all-dairy diet and they're lactose intolerant, you're an idiot. You won't know you're an idiot. That's the downside of when you give advice that's crap, is people never get really told that their advice was crap. They either never see the person again or the person doesn't understand why the advice was crap anyhow, or they're too polite to tell them that the advice was crap. So typically the reason why people give horrible advice is because they never get told that their advice is horrible. So they just continue to give it to other people. So I'm telling you now, if you tried a diet structure and it worked for you, congratulations. I'm happy for you. But be careful of recommending that to other people. What they need to do is to find a diet structure that works for them. So you can present the structure that you used and say, hey, why don't you look into this to see if this matches the way that you live? See if this is a lifestyle you can maintain. That's a much better way of giving the advice. Rather than saying you need to do da-da-da diet, it's better to say, hey, look at this diet. See if this would match your lifestyle. If it will, it might work for you because it worked for me. Much better way of saying that, okay, of wording it. So most diets that work initially work because they're a lifestyle that's similar to what you were living anyhow. Then why do most diets not work long term? Because you never fully adapt the new lifestyle. So people who do intermittent fasting for a while, all of a sudden they have some family event from at 6 o'clock at night, and they're like, well, I don't want to eat that food. I have all my food I'm supposed to eat all day, so I'm going to go ahead and eat breakfast and lunch today and then eat a little meal, and then I'm going to go there and I'm just going to eat a little bit. And then they end up overeating anyhow because the food was delicious, probably. So then they had a whole day where they just ate like a normal human being rather than intermittent fasting. So all of a sudden they broke their structure. So that's why it's important to find a style of dieting that maybe doesn't even have a rigid structure. It's better to have fluid rules and guidelines that can be modified and changed based on what you're doing that day. So since we don't live the same day every day, it's better to have diet rules and guidelines that aren't rigid around the exact lifestyle you have to have, the exact schedule, the exact food types. So, for example, when I give programs for people in nutrition, and it's even people doing like aesthetic-based competitions where we have to get down to 6% body fat, there's still fluidity within our rules because life is not black and white. Life is gray, all gray. Okay, so you have to have diet guidelines that allow variances because life has variances. So the reason why most diets work in the short term is because you modify your lifestyle to that diet, and you probably picked a diet that was close to your lifestyle anyhow. Why they don't work long term is because you don't stay with that lifestyle. You go back to kind of the things you did before you accepted a few rules. So you bend the rules, you rationalize the rules, you break some of them, but convince yourself of somehow that it's okay because you're freaking special. Okay, well, I work harder than everybody else I know, or oh, my body's so stubborn I could never lose fat, so I have to do this and this. I know what those rules are, but I know my body best. Blah, blah, blah. Bear crap. Bear crap, bear crap, bear crap that you know your body best. If you knew your body best, you'd already be in good shape. Oh, that probably stung. So, if you actually knew what the hell you were doing, you'd already be in good shape. Chances are you don't know what the hell you're doing. You are just convincing yourself of your own bear crap, and then you're living based on bear crap, and you're getting bear crap results. So, it's amazing how great we are at lying to ourselves. And I am included in ourselves, by the way. So I lie to myself all the time, and I'm trying my best to figure out and understand if I am, where I am, and how to address it and fix it. So I'm not above any of this. I'm not special. So I am trying to be as aware as possible to my bear crap. And what I'm asking you to do is the same. So we are amazing at lying to ourselves and believing our own made up bear crap. So it's time, if you want something new, if you want new results, if you want true fat loss that stays off, if you want to build muscle that stays on, if you want to have amazing athletic performance, super strong, super lean, whatever you want that you can't get to, you are being held back by your current knowledge. Either the lack of knowledge or the belief in bear crap that you made up your absolute self. So, anytime I work with new trainers, so we used to do interns from the local university and kind of help them kind of develop themselves. And then I just kind of got frustrated because I wasn't getting any financial benefit from them because I couldn't use them because they didn't know enough. So the university did not educate them well enough that I could actually use them as trainers for the public. So therefore, I was basically just kind of educating them myself and for free. So that was kind of a bummer. So I do work with trainers as clients. So a lot of my trainers, actually over half of my trainers are half of my clients are personal trainers. So a lot of times when I counsel personal trainers, I tell them all the time that if you don't know something, just tell your client you don't know. There's nothing wrong with saying the words "I don't know." There's no one on the planet that knows everything. Not at all. So you just say, I don't know, but I'm going to go find that out for you. So you go home, you find it out, you send them the answer. And then now you know. You don't just make up bear crap because you can't make up stuff as a trainer because either it won't work out or the person will eventually find the real answer and then they're going to know that you're full of crap. So it's better to just admit that you don't know something and then go look it up so you'll then know it. So how do you do that for yourself? If you look at the world of nutrition, what do you honestly 100% really know to be factual? Meaning that you read it, heard it, or somehow got introduced to the information. You then put that information to the test. It worked out multiple times to be true, so therefore it is now knowledge. So that's knowledge, okay? It's not you read it in a magazine. No. Just because you were presented information doesn't mean it's knowledge. You have to test that information in real world experiences, and more than once, and then that becomes knowledge. So, with that being our definition of knowledge, what do you truly know about nutrition? Not to be rude, but it's probably very little. So I spend all day doing this stuff. This is my entire life is watching people move and talking to people what they eat. I've done it for 18 years now as being paid to do it. And I've been doing it in my own life for 20. So I've been doing it for 20 years, and every single day I learn something new. That's not an exaggeration. I'm not joking. I'm not, trying to make it sound fancy. Literally every single day I learn something new about training, and I learn something new about nutrition. And that's been true for 20 years. So whatever 20 times 365 is, that's how many days that I've gone consecutively learning something brand new. And this is all I do every day. I passed that 10,000 rules, like 10,000 hours kind of rule for being an expert. I passed that a long time ago. Now, am I an expert? I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I know a lot of stuff. I know a lot. But I'm still learning a lot, and I'm aware that there's a lot more to learn. So by no means do I know everything. But this is all I do every day for 20 years. So if this isn't all that you do every day for the last 20 years, you probably don't know very much. You have read a lot. You've listened to a lot. You've heard your friends tell you things that they believe to be true. But how much do you actually know is knowledge? Probably not a lot. So, what are you believing when you decide on what to do nutritionally? Are you believing bear crap that you made up yourself based on some things you read and listened to here or there, put together with absolutely no knowledge of how to put them actually together, and then that's what you're living off of? Or are you seeking out someone? It doesn't have to be me. This isn't a commercial for me. But are you seeking out knowledge? So, for example, like that hybrid performance method that we talked about. That's a great channel to go check out. There's tons and tons and tons and tons of experts in nutrition. Okay? There's a lot of people that know stuff. Now, there's more than that of people who believe they know stuff and they don't. So it is a little bit harder to find multiple resources and stuff like that. But if you need anything, okay, if you need resources, email us at brutalirongym@gmail.com. I'll send you places to go look, okay? So for example, Performance Nutrition, a great book is called Nutrient Timing by John Ivey, okay? So you can go check that out. Championship Bodybuilding, which is a book by Chris Aceto, is a great book for aesthetic nutrition. So there's stuff in there about exercising, but you can get rid of that part if you don't want to. But the nutrition for the aesthetics is great. It's fantastic knowledge. So there's a ton of resources available out there. And if you email me, I'll send you as many as I can find and figure out and send them all to you, okay? But you need to know is, am I listening to something that was presented me by a person who went through in real world experience saw if this worked? Or are they just giving you a fact, but they don't have real world experience to back that up? Are they giving you a fact that they heard from another person who heard it from another person who heard it from another person? So we all know that game they call the telephone game, I believe, where, like a line of kids, 10 kids stand in line. They share a secret across each other, and by the end, the secret is nothing close to whatever the hell it actually was in the beginning. That happens overwhelmingly. So when I listen to people try to give gym advice, holy bear crap. People don't know what the hell they're talking about, but they believe that they do. And it's people who've never done the thing before. They've only done it for like 3 months. And now all of a sudden they're giving other people advice and telling them how to, like, this is how I deadlift. And it's like, you don't know what the hell you're doing. You don't know how to deadlift. Your deadlift looks like bear crap. And then you're trying to give people advice. Oh my God. So you have to be aware of who you're getting advice from. Try to find the smartest, most the person with the longest level of experience, the most education, formal education, combination of all that you can find. Okay? That's who you should be listening to. So there are many things I hear all the time when people believe bear crap, their own bear crap. So recently I was talking to somebody and talking about nutrition, and we were talking about if they ate well, the differences that would happen in their blood work. And they had mentioned that they had been dieting better. Okay, so God knows what it was before, but they had been dieting better for 3 or 4 months. And I said, well, that's great. The next time, and they're going to get like their blood tested soon. I said, that'd be great. You'll be able to see kind of like cholesterol changes from the last time you got your blood test done. And they said, oh no, cholesterol takes longer than that to see effects. So, holy cow. So, I laughingly say this because I don't know what in the world they were basing their belief of how long it takes to see nutritional effects in cholesterol. I don't know what they were basing that belief off of. But this is kind of what I do. I have a master's in nutrition over this stuff. This is what I do. And yet, whatever the heck they were believing to be true from whatever the resource they got, they were kind of, in a sense, telling me how long it should take. So, now, yes, I've been wrong before. So that's not necessarily the me part of it that's the concern. It's just, when they made that statement, I have no clue what the hell they were basing that off of. But yet they totally believed it to be true. So I was talking with another person recently, and they said, I started my diet a couple months ago. And then within other conversations, we found out that they were, still drinking soda. They were still eating like snacks and extra food late at night. Then no, you didn't do your diet. You're eating better than the shitty way you were eating before. But you didn't start your diet. You were doing just some efforts somewhat better than whatever before. But that's not a diet if you're still breaking the rules and still having your own stuff. So that's bear crap. Absolute bear crap. I started my diet months ago. No, you did not. No. If you're not doing the diet full-on effort, no. You did not start your diet. No. So, another person told me that they train really hard. But yet, when you watch their workouts, they don't do any of the movement therapy warm-ups that they should do. And they're BSing with friends. They're bear crapping with friends, BCing with friends, when they should be doing like more rigid rest periods. And half the time, they're just kind of throwing the weight around rather than actually focusing on the muscles. So there they are in their head, believing their own bear crap about their training hard, and they don't know why they're not seeing results. Bear crap! You believe you're training hard based on what? What? The fact that you show up? Congratulations. Okay? So, think in your life, what bear crap are you believing in? And then try to stop it. Try to call yourself out on it. If you believe something to be true, why? What knowledge do you have behind that truth? If you can't name the knowledge, the source of knowledge, or the reason why you believe that to be true, if you're like, well, I just know it. No. Well, I just believe it to be true. No. Or, I read it in the magazine. No. Okay? So, knowledge is you were presented information, you tested the information ended up being true. That's knowledge. Just being presented it is not knowledge. So what do you truly know? That's what I'm asking you. That's what I ask myself every day, and I actually have a note at the top of every single podcast that I try to only ever say things that I know to be true. So if someone were to send me an email, give me a phone call, or ask me, hey, you said such and such, why do you believe that to be true? I have a way to back it up. I have a client example, or hundreds. So, or I have a book, or I have a resource. I have a, something I can go and present that information to you. So I try my absolute best in my own life to not believe my own bear crap. And I would promote you to do the same. It's amazing how much of our lives we actually believe to be kind of, better than what they really are. And this extends outside of the gym. When you say you don't have time for things, that's bear crap. You're probably wasting time on social media, wasting time putzing around doing this or that. There's probably more efficient, better ways to do things, but maybe you just don't want to take the time to go figure out the efficiency. So we say, I wish I had a better relationship with so-and-so. Bear crap. Are you picking up the phone to text them? Are you calling them? Or are you believing some bear crap about, like, well, they should call me. They haven't called me. Phones work 2 ways. Both ways. Make it work your way, and then it'll work their way. So don't believe your own bear crap, whether it's in the gym, whether it's nutrition, whether it's training, or whether it's regular life. So always, always, always try to identify, am I just using excuses? Am I just using, bear crap to make myself feel good? Or am I willing to strip that away, call myself out on things, and become better? Okay? So thank you for listening to this. This one went on. And for as many times I said bear crap, hopefully it was at least better than the other word. And I promise not to use this forever because it's probably going to get annoying. But I thought it was funny. So hopefully the podcast was helpful. And if you need any resources whatsoever because you want to finally get to true knowledge, email us at brutalironjim@gmail.com. If you have any questions, we'll make a podcast about it. So I'll give you the knowledge in whatever format you want. We'll make a podcast, or I'll send you a book, or whatever. So if there's anything that you want to know, if you're ready to call yourself out on something and you want to replace your bear crap with real knowledge, email us and we'll help you out. Okay? Cool. If you like the podcast, please share it with family and friends. The more people we help, the happier the world will be. Also, if you like this information, you can find more from us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Brutal Iron Gym. And if you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions, like I just said, we'd love to hear from you. The podcast is for you, so we want to know what you want to learn about. You can tell us at our email, brutalironjim@gmail.com. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening. And thank you for watching.